Hey, everybody. Welcome once again. We are Artists on Lockdown, our weekly presentation where we feature some of the biggest names in music, some of the guys in front of the mic, behind the drums, of course. Tonight, we'll be talking to two great individuals, bass players, which we haven't done in a while, and it'll be sandwiched between my two good buddies, my brothers, two of the biggest and best rock and roll drummers in history. First of all, I want to bring, again, it's going to be my twin brother, I'm going to say, from Last in Line. We'll be talking about Last in Line a lot tonight, but also Dio and Black Sabbath. Vinny Appice. Come on, Vin.
Hello, here I am from the dead.
Here you are again, sir. Welcome back. Now, how old are you, Vin?
Locked in my room again.
How old are you? What is your age?
My age? I'm 16 Celsius.
Okay, so then you're my middle brother, because my older brother will be Carmine. And we're going to bring him on right now. You know, again, legendary drummer with, of course, Vanilla Fudge, but also the Rod Stewart Band, Jeff Beck, and so many other things, touching so many lives. Say hello to Carmine Appice. Hey, Carm.
Hey, dude. How you doing, man? Hey, Vin.
So good
to hear Ron.
Hey, what's with the pink shirt in Florida?
Hey, it's Florida, dude. Okay. I can put my collar up and make it look cooler. How's
you
that?
still wear all black.
Yeah, you know what? I had to look twice. I thought it was Don Johnson from Miami Vice.
It is Don Johnson. You know, we have the same birthday.
Really?
Really? See? I felt it. I felt it.
December 15th is his birthday and my birthday.
Wow.
Well, we got another big show planned this week. With all the great things that Vinny has done, obviously with Ozzy and with Dio, great bands. I had the privilege of working with him personally with his band Last in Line, and tonight we have his bandmate, one of the greatest and most accomplished bass players in rock and roll. Let's bring to our stage, Artists on Lockdown presents Phil Soussan. Phil, where you at, buddy?
Uh-oh.
We lost Phil, but let's bring in Kenny.
We lost Phil.
We lost Phil.
What do you mean you lost Phil?
Okay, so we'll bring Phil back because we have another bass player, which we're so excited to have tonight. This is the great thing about live TV. But again, if you say Dylan, if you say Derringer, Billy Idol, Joan Jett, Hall & Oates, so many great bands. This guy's been part of them all. We'd like to welcome to Artists on Lockdown, bass player extraordinaire, Mr. Kenny Aaronson.
Hey.
Yo,
modern technology here, man. This is great.
Yeah.
What you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, Ken?
Good, man. Good.
I can go get I got the Florida shirt on.
I know.
Get the Florida hat like Kenny's.
There you go, man. You look like a flamingo.
Yeah.
I'm still wearing black, though.
Oh, you're wearing black. I can go get a black shirt, too, if you guys want.
Carmine's into pink now.
Yeah. Hey, I want to know what shirt you're wearing, Ron.
You know what? Here's the thing. I feel terrible because, I normally do a really good job with the shirts, as you know. But
yes.
I had a last-minute thing. I had to run out, and the only one I had in my car.
Rush.
Oh, Rush.
Yeah, Rush.
We gave you
tonight.
Last in Line shirt. We gave you
I know. I got Last in Line, Vanilla Fudge.
Phil.
I got
There's
Phil.
There's Phil. Hey.
Chrome crashed my MacBook. It's that laptop never crashes, but this crashed it. So I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, everybody froze. I was about to make the joke of the century. Now I can't remember it.
Okay. Now, Phil, do you know Kenny?
I have met Kenny several times. I think the last time we met was at the Rainbow. You remember that place? The place of pizzas and moving stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you, Kenny? It's good to see you.
Man.
It's good to see you.
Well back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kenny's, so it's a real pleasure. So it's always great to see you again.
Oh, nice to see you.
Thank
We're alive to talk about it.
Kenny is part of our growing Brooklyn All-Star team we've been putting together. I mean, really, I would love to see you guys in some schoolyards with a couple baseball bats and your bases. You know,
Stick ball.
You're gonna need them.
I'm from Chicago. I'm talking about softball here. Anyway, so good to see you guys. Welcome to Artists on Lockdown. So many questions. So many fans have been chiming in all week. They know that both you guys are on our show tonight. So thanks for joining us. I know you guys are. I mean, are you guys? I'm sure you're doing some new music. I'm sure you're doing some. Are you doing? Phil, are you doing any of your master classes while you're on lockdown?
No, not really. I did a couple.
No.
The reason being
That's like not replying. Yes. No.
The reason is that I'm about to start doing some work with another company, and so I've sort of been holding back to do some of those. But I'd like to get more of a sort of organized format of doing that. I think it's great. I learn more doing those than probably people watching learn. As I'm sure all of us here know, the minute you start teaching somebody something, it gives you forces you to have a better understanding of what you're doing. So I really look forward to those things. But I was doing some cooking, stuff like that, stuff that had nothing to do with music.
All right, I got to know, it's important to me personally, being an Italian-American, what is your specialty at the stove?
Ask Vinny.
Oh, really?
Man, he came over my house one time. Him and his wife, Jen, slept over. And he goes, I'll make breakfast. And I'm like, well, there's nothing really in the fridge, just some eggs and all this shit. And he made like this gourmet with the garnish on the side, eggs and bacon. And it was amazing. He's an amazing chef.
Oh, thank you.
Pizza.
All right, Phil,
steaks,
when you come by us at the Arcata Theater, would you cook something for us?
No, you're supposed to cook for me.
I know. I always give you the meatballs. Come on.
Meatballs.
Well, yeah, here's a great chef.
I specialize in probably sort of a lot of Mediterranean stuff, like French and fusion with Asian, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's my favorite stuff to cook.
Really, fusion's big. Hey, Kenny, it's so good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. You know, one of my favorite songs, and this is probably a hair out of left field, but Brother Louie, one of my favorite songs. Just say it, What can you tell me about anything about that? I mean, it was a social thing going on. You hear what's going on these days?
You don't know what you just stepped into just now.
Well, maybe yes, maybe no.
I'm just about dealing with trying to recoup royalties that I've never seen.
Oh,
really?
Man.
And there's a dispute going on as to whether I was actually in the band or not. And I just got contact. I contacted the AF of M, and they actually got back to me today. In one day, this happened, and they're telling me I have to prove to them that I played on the record because I actually never got credited on the album.
Wow.
Because of the strange circumstances of how that particular record, I'll just tell you real quickly that the album that Brother Louie is on, which is the Second Stories album, came out at a time when the band was in flux and I hadn't been in the band yet. So the band got reshuffled around. I joined the band. Then I did that track with everybody, and we just did it as session musicians for another band, actually. And then Neil Bogart of Kama Sutra Records gave it to Stories as their next single. So they re-released the album, and everybody, the producers of the record, got credit on it, and they left my name off.
Oh man.
Oh,
so
my God.
I got really screwed on that one, and now I have to go prove that I played on the damn record.
Why don't you play the song for them?
I mean, it's just absurd, that I got to go through hoops to do this. So I'm actually going to put it out right here. Everybody that knows me, that knows that I play on that record,
that's right.
You should call the union and tell those fuckers that I did it. Excuse me. But anyway, that's what's happening with me today. That's the latest thing.
Wow, today,
And,
where did you
and
record this?
hopefully it'll get worked out.
Wow.
Was it at a studio, like a public studio at the time? Where did you record it?
We recorded it at Bell Sound in New York City. That was it's a really
big-
famous studio.
Big place.
Bell Sound.
So do they have like a log or something, like when people checked in that day or something from the studio kind of a thing?
They should, and the union asked me if I can prove it by showing them union contracts. I don't have union
my
contracts.
God! Yeah.
And this is 1973. Everybody that was involved is pretty much dead at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Neil Bogart is dead. One of the two producers is dead. Although I got a letter from the other producers stating that, I'm on the record. But I'm telling you, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
I'm dealing with this now. I'm 68 years old. I did this track when I was 21.
Well, what I wanted to
Kenny,
the reason I brought it up.
who do they imagine was actually playing on it then? Has anyone else contested it?
Oh no, absolutely not.
So what's the problem?
I don't. Well, yes, the union. They're just being really because I'm not credited on the record.
Is that for a sound exchange kind of royalty?
Well, it came up through Sound Exchange.
Yeah, which I thought.
It came up through Sound
Because the union pays royalties for artists that play with, like, I get my Rod Stewart and Pink Floyd and all the stuff that I did. Instead of getting it directly from Sound Exchange, I get it from the union, which is.
Well, then, you know what? We'll stop the conversation now because I don't want to get into it because it's going to be in public. But I'm going to talk to you about that, Carmine, because I can use a little. I'm not the type of guy that's going to try to get something that doesn't belong to me. But I do want to find out whatever monies are there for me. Where are they? What happened to it? And just straighten it all out if it can be at this point. But anyway, other than that, life is great. I'm down here in my basement, and what I do in my spare time is I've been playing a lot of this.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Wow.
What is it?
That's a early '60s Fender double neck steel guitar. It's a Deluxe 6.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of recording down here in my basement. Let's see.
That looks like something that, as Phil would, looks like something Edgar Winter would perform on.
There's Fat Elvis in the background there. We got Fat Elvis, and hey, there's my brother Louis Gold records. There you go.
Right.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing.
Why you should use that as your evidence?
How did you get a gold record if you were part of it?
What's that?
If you got a gold record, you got a gold record.
Yeah.
That's your
Absolutely.
proof.
But anyway,
if you didn't do it, who did?
Well, geez, my reputation got staked on that record initially.
Here's
my career.
Here's some news for you. Next week, I get my internet connection in my guest house where I have the studio I put together, and Vinny built me the computer. And I can't really do much in there without the internet connection. So, Vin, Monday, I get the internet connection.
yeah.
And then I can do this from there, too. And I can show you the studio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, not to belabor the issue because I apologize for the sensitive nature of it, but I did, just because of the way things are going these days. The social issues surrounding that song. Are there any likenesses from back then to that makes sense right now? What's going on?
I don't think a whole lot has changed, really. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really. I don't know. I never really gave it much thought, really. But I don't know. I kind of think it still relates to some degree today. Maybe not as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, things are more open certainly than they were back then. It's funny. It's only back in 1973 that we did that tune, but things were pretty. I remember I started traveling back then and started heading down south and with stories. That's when I started really traveling. And I saw a lot of crazy stuff going on. Just socially with racial stuff back then. It was disturbing. It was very disturbing.
Yeah.
As it is today. Yep. Yep. So let me ask you guys, Phil, Kenny. I mean, there's a little overlap with gentleman by the name of Billy Idol. Kind of a strange. I know. I say the name every
blushing.
So, if you guys can you give us a little something that happened backstage with Billy? I mean,
even before that, when did Phil play with Billy, and when did Kenny play with Billy?
You both played with Billy.
Year-wise, because I think that's interesting.
Go ahead, Phil.
I did Charmed Life, so that would be 1988.
Oh, so I was right before it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I did Whiplash Smile.
Yeah. I went to see you. I saw you guys.
And what year was that, Kenny?
87.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that wild? One after, so you were the next bass player, Phil, after Kenny.
Yeah, it was.
That's pretty funny. You think about it.
It was more of a total situation for Billy than that. We ended up taking a vacation together in 1980. Well, it was at the end of 87, and we were in Tahiti, and he told me he'd kind of got fed up with not with this band, but with the whole situation being on the East Coast and everything, and he was looking to maybe relocate somewhere else, maybe to the West Coast. And we spent a lot of time together over the next few weeks. And then one day he moved out there, and he said to me, "I want to put a whole new band together. I want to try something completely different." And initially he wanted Randy Castillo and myself as his rhythm section, and he was going to find a new guitar player. And with the exception of Randy, all of that came to be. Randy didn't. I guess his producer Keith Forsey came back, and Keith just didn't like Randy's playing or something. So before Randy had a chance to leave Ozzy and jump ship, he decided to stay with Ozzy, and so I went. So that's how that came about. So it wasn't really like one person was replacing somebody else. It was like a whole new band for him. He wanted to try something different.
Who played drums when Kenny played with him? And who played drums?
Tommy Price.
Tommy Price. And what about you, Phil?
Well, we went through a long process to try to find a drummer. We went through some 20 or 30 drummers, and we ended up with Mike Baird. Mike Baird played on the
Wow.
Mike is great. He's like a human drum machine. And a very straight ahead drummer. But we had some fantastic drummers come to play with us. Sugarfoot Moffett, Prairie Prince, a lot of fantastic drummers. But at the end of the day, what Keith wanted was Roger Lynn. Somebody that's just really just dead straight. And
Hey, Vinny, I didn't get a call for that. Did you?
No, that's because we do too many Phils.
Yeah.
But we did
that Phil, not that Phil.
Yeah.
Me and Vinny did play with Kenny in two different situations.
Yeah.
I played with him with Leslie West, and Vinny played with him with Rick Derringer.
And Phil played with us at the one of our shows, a couple of our shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, he played with our shows. Yeah.
Hey, can you see this? Look at this, Kenny. A Derringer picture.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Oh wow!
Look at the hair on that guy, Kenny.
Yeah, look! All the hair's gone. Jeez.
Look at that picture. That's nice.
That's an explosion in a hair factory. I've never seen that, Vinny.
I got it. That's the photo session we did at Steve Paul's place up in Connecticut.
I'd love to get a copy of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big. It's a big.
Oh wow!
I've never seen that picture.
Yeah, those I remember.
Wow. What happened?
Oh no, man.
Yeah, what happened?
It's like all of a sudden now we're all a bit older now.
Old now.
I just had Rick over the house here on Sunday to do his own little podcast. He's going to be on this show, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Are you guys in the same neighborhood, sort of?
Well, he's 2.5 hours away in Florida.
Oh, okay.
But he came down here with his wife to do some sort of real estate closing, and he asked me if I would do, this TV show. They videoed it, so we did it in our dining room there. That was the first time we had people over here. We only been down here a couple couple of months, and we don't have all the furniture in yet. And but it was interesting because we talked about the old days and talked about when you guys played together at Derringer Band. He loved that band.
That was killer band.
That was a great band. The sad thing about that band was we just couldn't ever make the right record that would get us radio play.
Right.
That was the one thing it always eluded us. Every record, we tried a different producer, and that producer would try to put their stamp on us, and we would try to be made this or that and this and that. And then we just go out live, and what we were just this powerhouse, raw, rocking band, but we just couldn't find the right songs that and put it in such a format that would get radio play, like everything that was going on at the time, Foreigner or Boston or Benatar or, people that were selling records,
And it's funny because Rick had hit records before that and had hit records as a producer.
Yeah.
So that makes it really even crazier.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. But and then I played. And hold on. And then I played with Kenny with Leslie West, who had Mick Jones as the second guitar player.
Yeah, Mick Jones.
Wow.
And that was a hell of a band. That was a great band too. But we never recorded. We just toured. My first, the first few gigs we did was the first big tour that Kiss ever did. Remember? And we played with them, and I was watching all the theatrics, and I remember in my solo. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Who's on drums?
Oh, that's me.
The same hat.
Yeah.
That's me.
The same hat.
Yeah, I don't know what drum set that is.
What drum set is that? Oh my God.
But anyway, I remember.
Face in your face.
Yeah, check this out. So
never mind the drum kit. We want to hear about the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wait.
So
It's lighter now.
yeah. So what we did was, I saw all this Peter Criss stuff and all this Kiss stuff, explosions and bomb. I don't know if you remember this, Kenny. I put lighter fluid on my cymbals. I said, "Oh, great! At the end of it, I'm just going to light the cymbals on fire."
Oh man, I remember that now.
And then I hit the cymbals, and the crap flew off the stage into the front of the stage and started setting the whole place on fire.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's not really the way pyro works there, Carm.
I know.
I tell you a funny quick story. Before you joined the band, when Corky was playing, and that was like my third or fourth professional gig, Leslie used to yell at me because I'd play too many notes, and he'd say, "Ken, we don't need another Jack Bruce in the band," and oh jeez. I remember. I used to actually practice back then, and I would take music with me, and Leslie would see me in my room, like practicing the sheet music, and he'd make fun and go, "Hey, look, the kid's practicing." That was a trip. I mean, that was like my first experience with somebody really hardcore, serious rock and roll.
And you
at
always,
a level that I just wasn't used to yet.
And you always did a good impersonation of Leslie talking.
He was great though, man. Leslie was so funny. Jeez,
Yeah.
it was nonstop.
Yeah.
God, and he played great.
Yeah, he did.
Played great. He used to yell at you for playing your hi-hat fills.
No, I know.
Hey, come on, you got some hi-hat fills.
Yeah. He still owes me $750 for shipping my drums back.
Let it go, man. Hey, Carmine, let it go, Carm.
I did. It's fine. Yeah. We've been friends. Leslie is the first guy that made it that I've known in the business. I know him since 1963.
Wow.
Right? When he was in the Vagrants, and they were unknown by then. And I was in an R&B band with horns and everything, with pinstripe suits and teased up hair,
Wow.
and we would play 20 minutes, half hour, and then another band would play. The other band was the Vagrants, and that's when Roger, the drummer, broke my bass drum pedal. And they came in, they looked like the Rolling Stones, and we're all decked out in suits and ties and stuff. And I said, "Who the hell are these guys? Boy, do they suck?" And then they became the big rage of New York City like 3 years later. But I met him back then, and to this day, he's the oldest guy in the business that I've known that's still, like famous and not dead.
And not dead.
Yeah, not dead.
Speaking of those guys, Phil, I got to ask you, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with one of the greatest legends, obviously Jimmy Page?
Yeah, I was in a band that was signed to his label. We were managed by Peter Grant. Actually, it was Simon Kirk's band after Bad Company. And
what band? Which band?
It's a band called Wildlife.
Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and so we were managed by Peter, and we were signed to Swan Song. And I was a huge Zeppelin fan, and we were recording at Jimmy's studio. And he was how can I say, was in the kind of like a he was just after John Bonham had passed away, he just became a recluse. He wasn't out at all. He didn't go anywhere. And he kept threatening to come down to the studio to say hi, and I would wait every night. The other guys would go to the pub. And after a few days of doing this, I got fed up, and I went to the pub. And then Peter called the next day and said, "Yeah, Jimmy came down to the studio last night to meet the guys, and no one was there." Cut forward to several months later, when the band basically dissolved, I got a phone call from Phil Carlo, who, Phil Carlo, of course, Carmine. He was he is Zeppelin's tour manager after Richard Cole, and he's still a very good friend of mine. And he called me and he said, "Would you like to Jimmy wants to know if you would like to put a band together with him." And I thought, Jesus, are you kidding? I'm like 22 or something. Hang on, I'll get back to you. No, that's not what I said. I said, yeah, absolutely. So we got together, and we spent several months, maybe close to 10 months, in Nomis Studios in London, just jamming and going over songs, and him rediscovering what he loved about his music, and for me discovering what Jimmy loved about music. And it was a real eye-opener. It was the greatest experience of my life. And I have a huge background in a 50s Americana rock and roll, which I really was big on. And so he naturally was also had an affinity for that. So we connected on that level. And I know, Kenny, you play a lot of stuff like that as well, right? And you played with Robert Gordon, didn't you? I think.
Hey, are you guys having trouble with the audio?
Oh, can you hear me?
I've unfortunately I have missed half of what you said. Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's like.
I'll start again.
Anyway, Kenny, you got earphones in? Kenny, you got earphones in?
Oh yeah, yeah. Everything was fine until Phil started talking.
That's usually the case, Kenny.
Hey, Phil, what was the band with Jimmy called?
Well, actually, we had an unofficial name, which was called the McGregors.
And did it come out? Did the album come out?
No. It was going to become the Firm, and I would have stayed in the band were it not for the fact that Ozzy asked me to go and play with him, and I had a dilemma. I could go play with Ozzy or stick with Jimmy, and I talked to Jimmy about it. I said, "What do you think I should do?" And he said to me, "Well, I'm not planning on doing anything for quite some time. So if you want to go out there, you go with Ozzy. If you want to stick around for another year and a half or something until we're ready, I'd love to have you here." And so I decided to go with Ozzy, and Jimmy and I stayed friends, and he's just one of the greatest people in the world. That's Ozzy, not Jimmy, but I do have. Yeah. But
well, you mean Ozzy's one of the greatest people in the world, or Jimmy?
Jimmy.
Yeah, that's what I
love Jimmy.
But it's funny how this whole thing works, because then you left, and they got Tony Franklin, who I played with.
Well, Tony was playing with Roy Harper at the time, and so
exactly
he knew Tony, and he said, "I'm just going to get Roy's guy. He's got a kid playing with him who's really good. He's going to come in and play." Yeah. And that's how Tony ended up there. Incidentally, the way the name, the firm, the name came up was rather funny. We every day we went in for rehearsals, Jimmy's guy would come in with a box, and he'd open the box, and in the box was cigarettes and was bottles of tonic water, and Jimmy would shuffle through them, and he'd find the bottle of tonic water with a torn label, and he'd say, "This one has the gin in it." So he'd mix up a gin and tonic, and then he'd have cigarettes and stuff. And anytime you wanted anything, he'd say, "Well, take something out of the box. Do you want a pack of fags? Take a pack out of the box." And I'd say, "Well, is that all right?" And he goes, "No, it's the firm's." Meaning to say, it belongs to the company. Everything was the firm's. And eventually the name stuck, the firm. That was it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So your practices with Jimmy, I mean, how he seems to me so methodical. Your rehearsals, were they a little bit more extended than normal? I mean, he just seems to be such a perfectionist.
Well, the first day we went to play, it was Chris Slade and myself and him, and we had no idea what he was going to want to do. And no one had seen Jimmy in years. So he plugs in, and there's all these guitars, and he picks up a guitar and starts playing and starts trying to describe some kind of crossover beat. And he's doing this thing where he punches his fist in the air, which he does. If you watch him, he's trying to sort of play on the offbeat or whatever. And Chris and I were looking at each other, and we were just going, "Oh shit, I hope this works out, because we're just not getting this." And all of a sudden, there's a remarkable moment. Jimmy stopped us, and he said, "Look," he said, "I know you guys are a little nervous about playing with me, but I'd like you have to understand, I haven't played in a few years, and as nervous as you are, I'm probably 10 times more nervous."
Wow.
And it broke the ice. It broke the ice completely, and immediately we started playing like Train Kept a Rollin', and we started playing to Communication Breakdown, and we started finding all these old rockabilly songs to play, and we just had the best time, and we just played for fun. We just played music, and he was having a great time just playing music, and so were we, and rediscovering all the early influences. It was a magical time. So regardless of whether I was in the firm or not, that is probably my favorite part of my entire career, I have to say.
What about me?
Yeah, you come in a close second, Vinny, but
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, let's talk about Dust for a minute, and Marky, and working with Marky, and that whole was that whole Ramones kind of crew or vibe part of Dust? Was it hanging around Dust?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Lord, no. It was the extreme. I was listening to some Dust the other day, and I just sat there going, "Who are these people playing?" Because it's like, it's just me. It's a whole other lifetimes away from what I do as a bass player now. I mean, I could not do that anymore. I don't know how I did it then. And Mark was incredible drummer at the time. He was like Mitch Mitchell on steroids. I mean, he was Bonham. He was Mitch Mitchell. He was just, and I tried to play as many notes on the bass as he was playing on drums. I mean, that's what we did, And I listen to it now, and I lose my breath. I can't keep up with it. It's really intense, and it's great for what it is. But it was like going on from that, and then working as a sideman for all the different people I've played with over such a long period of time, is what made me a better musician. Each person, whether it was Leslie yelling at me, or don't do this, or I don't want another Jack Bruce in the band, or this person or that, that's how you learned, and then I just sort of, guess I became a pretty versatile side kind of guy, which I, I'm glad, because I've kept busy, and I've played with so many great people and so many different genres and styles of rock and roll. And I enjoy that, because I get bored doing the same thing all the time anyway. I don't want to do that. I mean, I admire people that were hugely successful in a big act, you know, and made great money, and hopefully they didn't kill themselves with it and they were wise with it. But I never had that, but I would never trade my journey and all my musical experiences though with all the people I've played with, you know.
Yeah.
So,
You know, Phil.
Who was the guitar player in Dust?
Right.
and Dust was Richie Wise.
Right. Richie Wise produced
But you know what?
the second Richie Wise produced the second KGB record.
Yes.
And it wasn't very long after you were them.
Richie, you know what? Richie was always the kind of guy that loved his high school sweetheart. He married her. They're still married. I know that if Dust became somewhat successful or whatever beyond what we did, if we went on the road and really had to tour, Richie would have been miserable. He didn't want to do that. So when he and Kenny Kerner, when Dust broke up and they produced Brother Louie, and then Neil set them up with Casablanca, and then they went and got Kiss, and they went on to Gladys Knight. He was happy, man. He was happy being in the studio. He was happy going home to his wife every night. He loved being in the studio surrounded with gear. That's what Richie was really happy doing, you know, producing A&R stuff, you know, just that's really where he was at.
Yeah.
Wasn't into being a rock star.
No, Dust is a very underrated band. I tell you what, great. Amazing.
I'm surprised you don't have a Dust T-shirt.
You know what? I should have. I
do somewhere. It's in storage in New Jersey.
Usually,
Phil, I wanted to ask you. You know, a lot of people. I don't know if a lot of people know of your Phil, your involvement with the Grammys. You know, being a part of that. What made you get involved in that side of the business?
Originally, I was interested in getting involved because when Randy Castillo first got ill with cancer, he really did not have very much resources. And to make a long story short, Music Cares really came forward for him. And it was the first I really got to know about what the Grammys did other than a show one night of the year. And I decided I wanted to do something, you know, because of that. I wanted to get involved with them and try to help out. And so one day I found out a lot about it, and I was a member, and I wanted to get involved. I wanted to be on the board. And I was elected to the board, and then I became chairman of the advocacy committee for the Grammys. So I traveled to DC and lobbied Congress for 3 years and on some of our rights, some of the issues which are important. And a couple of years later, I became vice president of the Los Angeles chapter. I held that for 2 terms and then termed out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was good.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know. This guy's making a difference for musicians.
Yeah, man, that's great.
Well,
that's great.
it's
I know people that are trying to get them to help now with this virus from Music Cares.
Yeah,
you know?
Music Cares is a really great foundation. It makes life very easy, not just for musicians, but also for people who work in the industry. So, for example, our techs, our roadies, our sound crews, you know, people who get sick and all of a sudden there's nobody there to help them out, you know. And so, in that regard, and Music Cares used to raise a fortune. They used to raise some $18 million a year of charitable contributions that would go directly to these people. So the Grammys does a lot of things, you know, and not just the show. But I wanted to do it as a sort of tribute to Randy, and also because I became passionate about it. And once I termed out, I was like, there was a point where I could have become president or a trustee, and then I just said, you know what, I've done 7 years, and I think I've done what I want to do here. So
good for you. Good. Nice.
Yeah, it was.
I never knew that.
Cathartic.
I think it's great how you gave back. You know, you give him back.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny, 1988, Rolling Stone magazine. Basis of the year. How did that all happen?
1988. 88.
Yep, right. 1988. How did that?
I'm having trouble hearing some of this dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah, 88.
So again,
So
Mhm.
I beat out Marcus Miller. Woo! Wow, that was lucky.
what happened in 1988 that made it so special? You think?
I have no idea how that. You know what? I don't know.
They had to base it on something.
I didn't even know about it. I think it was a cousin of mine called me up and said, "Hey, did you know you're in the Rolling Stones Critics Poll of Bassist of the Year?" I was like, "What?" I had no idea.
Are you sure? No, that's crazy.
I just found out like from a relative. Listen, I'm really flattered. I would never say I deserve anything like that. There's so many great. I mean, for me to beat out Marcus Miller, I mean, come on, jeez, that guy's like, he's a genius.
You guys both have the hats.
We both have the hats.
Yeah.
Both have the hats.
Hey, now Phil and Vinny, you got several ways, or you guys are kind of cross the paths. How did you first meet? And how did your journey together was Les Alpine and Ozzy? How'd this whole thing? How'd your relationship happen?
I first met Vinny through Jimmy Bain. I think years and years and years ago. Was it through Jimmy? It probably was, because I joined Ozzy and I was friendly with Jimmy at the time, and I think that's how we met. I'm not sure exactly when, but there was always a very great close understanding and feeling between the members of these two sister bands, between Ozzy and Dio. I don't know what ever went down between Ronnie and between Ozzy, but as far as the players went, we had a lot of respect for each other,
Yeah, right.
So drummers had respect for the drummers, and bass players had respect for the bass players, and so on and so forth. And so, of course, it was like we were almost like a related band in a way. And Jimmy was a dear friend at the time, and he was just a wonderful soul and a great human being.
Aww.
Yeah.
You remember it that way, Vinny?
Yeah, he was great. He was great when I first got to know him. Right about when the first Dio album came out, and he kind of really, I think he polished up his act and stuff, and he was just in a great headspace. He was really cool. And you remember after that, he bought the house in Woodland Hills.
Jimmy Bain bought this house in Woodland Hills. Really nice house. It came furnished. Actually, my wife was the real estate agent. It came furnished. He moved in with a suitcase or two, and that night there was a party.
Yeah.
And it looked like the early Hilton decor with the velvet and shit, and all this gaudy furniture, and that was like the party house,
Yeah.
Moved in, that was it.
Yeah. Been there. Remember that one?
It almost looked like it was a house that belonged to somebody in the mafia, but not somebody really high ranking.
Just a hitman. Just a low hitman.
Yeah, it's like it was movie Casino. It's a little bit kind of had that vibe about it. Remember?
Yeah. And then when he sold it, she had to go there when they had open houses. She had to go there on Sunday. Kenny, it's Justine that sold it.
Justine.
She's a real estate agent. You have to go there early Sunday, clean up the ashtrays and the bottles, and it was just a wreck, on a Sunday after the weekend and shit.
I remember Justine and her mother.
Yeah, Lena. And so that house was unbelievable. Then they finally sold it,
I'll tell you something, because all the time Jimmy lived in there, do you remember he never changed the carpet? It had like a 5-inch shag pile carpet. In fact, I think when he left, they were still finding people buried in there who had come to the parties that had never got out of the house.
There's Hoffa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so funny. It was a trip.
Maybe that's where Hoffa is. I don't know.
Maybe.
There they are.
Frankie.
Wow.
Frankie Benali, right?
And there's Tony.
Tony.
Yeah,
That's at
nice.
Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
There's a lot of history in that picture right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's Frankie Benali at Fire Riot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Frankie. God bless him
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
God bless him, man. He's fighting real hard right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
The Righteous Brothers.
Hey, Vinny, who's that young guy next to you?
I know, right?
Who's that kid? Is that your intern?
Uh-oh, look out.
Look at him. Oh my gosh.
That's not Phil. That's me.
That's not me. No, that's not me.
That's Tara. That's Tara.
There you go. That's
There they are.
Yeah. There
Hey
you go.
Kenny, you've been talking, again, me at the Arcada Theater, just like you guys, we're feeling the pain of this whole situation. We had Vanilla Fudge date scheduled, we had Last in Line date scheduled, we had Cactus date scheduled, and we had Yardbirds date scheduled.
Yeah, what happened?
Bringing Jimmy, McCarty, and you over. We're dying
I
over
was
here.
so looking forward to that. You have no idea, and
Yeah.
everything
Oh,
just
very good idea.
everything just blown out of the water now.
Yeah.
I know. How
It's-
did the whole Yardbirds thing come about with Jimmy McCarty and whoever you were dealing with at that time?
So I was just home doing my normal stuff that I do with whoever I do it with, and a guitar player buddy of mine in New York, John Paris. He's a blues guitar player. He used to play with Johnny Winter. We email each other just about musical stuff. One day he sends me an email about something, sends me an MP3 of something, and he goes, "By the way, I think the Yardbirds are looking for a new bass player. You should get in touch with Jim McCarty. He's on Facebook." So I said, "Geez, okay." So I just found him on Facebook. I wrote him a short note. I told him who I was. I said, "I won't bore you with the info, with the history. Just Google my name. You'll see who I am." I said, "I've been a huge Yardbirds fan since I was 12, 13 years old." I said, "If you're looking for somebody, I'm available." And 2 days later, he got back to me and he said, "You got the job."
Wow.
There it is.
That was it.
We did a bunch of shows together. With Vanilla
Yeah,
Fudge
that's a great
and
Yeah.
job, you guys.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did that cruise. That was great.
Yep. You don't want to do a cruise now.
No, man, it's
Yeah,
a
right.
floating petri dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Do you
I
know
like
if any of
man.
the original Yardbirds? Do you know if any of the original Yardbirds, Clapton or any of those guys ever getting, come to a show or speak to Jimmy McCarty or any of that stuff? Are they involved?
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, they're not involved, but
Jimmy and Chris Dreja actually are part ownership of the Yardbirds still. They're involved with the business of the band.
Wow.
As any variation of the band since Chris left, because I guess he had a few strokes and he just couldn't play or travel anymore. I met him a year or 2 years ago. He was great. I mean, he seemed fine and very nice to meet him. But so they run the business basically. It's their business. And I know that I think Jim McCarty still is in touch with Paul Samuel Smith, the original bass player, and I think Jim is still friendly with Page. Yeah, I know they're friendly with Page because I know they were in touch for a couple of maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago over something I forget now, and then and Henry Smith, who was our tour manager for a while up until last year. I think he was instrumental in getting Jimmy that Black Les Paul back to him that was stolen years ago.
oh, right. It's a great story.
So, yeah. And Henry was involved with that. So, yeah. Jim
It's crazy
McCarty's
how
a
the whole-
really great guy, really sweetheart.
Really is. We love.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed today on how everything's crisscrossing
Yeah.
with each other.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think more of this show than any other show that we've done.
Well,
You know?
if this group of people right here
Yeah.
just did a family music tree,
Yeah. It would be pretty wild.
it would just be,
It'd be a
great.
straight
It would
line.
be incredible.
It'd just be a straight
Incredible.
line. Everyone's connected to each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like
Amazing.
it's 50 degrees of separation thing. Look how it goes from you through Jimmy Page and to Phil to then Phil. I mean, it's great.
Ozzy.
when I was young, when I was a kid, Carmine and Timmy Bogart were heroes of mine. Timmy Bogart, I
Timmy.
used to see him play. He was an animal.
Yeah.
The guy was an animal.
Yeah.
He lead bass and distortion, and I mean, but he was an American. You know, he wasn't British. He was doing this.
He wasn't Jack Bruce.
But the thing about that I loved about Timmy was he was really influenced by James Jamerson.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he just channeled that with steroids. I mean, just explosive, just incredible. I mean, I remember seeing Cactus and oh God, I mean Cactus. I have seen Cactus. Oh, it was amazing. These guys, the adrenaline in that band was truly scary.
It was
scary.
I see some video. I see videos of Cactus at the Isle of Wight festival that somebody has, and maybe it'll come out someday. The adrenaline was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, my playing, the sticks were way up here, and when I come down on the cymbals, it was a whole body. It wasn't just hitting the cymbals. It was like destroying the cymbals. Vinny was like Ronnie called Vinny the wrecking machine. I was a wrecking machine when Vinny was like 8 years old.
And that's what I aspired to be. That's what I wanted to be, like you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we did a tour together I subbed for Bobby Rondinelli with a band called the Lizards and the Fudge.
Right.
And we went across Europe. And Timmy was playing, and I saw him do solos each night, just Timmy. And I haven't seen anything like that. It was incredible.
Yeah.
The solo was so interesting. Melodic.
Timmy was really way ahead of his time back then. I mean, it was, and then when I saw BBA, and Tim, right up there playing with Jeff, no intimidation there that I could sense.
No.
I mean,
actually, we have a live album. We have a live album that I mixed 2 years ago that probably will come out once we get Jeff. Like Jimmy said, well, I'm not ready to be another year and a half. That's what it's like. And when I talked to Jeff on the phone after we mixed it, he said, not only is it a great record and great playing, but the playing is humorous, he said. And I got to admit, it is, because like Jeff will do something sick, and then Tim will do something sick, which will inspire me to do something sick. And it goes around the thing, but within the groove. It was pretty amazing. This was 1974, our last gig, Phil, the place, the London Rainbow.
Oh, my God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we did 2 shows there. That was our last show. And eventually, hopefully this will come out, because there's some unbelievable playing on all the 3 of our parts. And I did most of the singing on that album, too, which is pretty wild. And I'm playing and singing, I'm going, oh, my God. I listen, how am I playing and singing that stuff, Really crazy.
Well, I can't wait to hear that record.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I have a copy. I could actually send you guys a copy.
That'd be great. I'd love to hear that.
I'll do that.
I think we got to put together a show.
Send us a copy. We'll put it up on the website.
Yeah, right.
We'll
put it on YouTube.
We'll put it all on YouTube, and that'll be the end of the deal.
Right.
Without a doubt. Anyway, good stuff. This is great stuff.
So are you guys planning on, we should, go ahead, Vin, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I had today I went and got a colonoscopy today.
Oh, nice.
So I'm fucking laying there with the IV and everything, and I'm just laying there in the bed for an hour and a half. I go, what's going on? I was almost going to take it out and go, you know what, I'll come back later or something.
Yeah, I think you were used to it by now, because this is what, your 5th or 6th one this month?
Hey, action.
They're all ignoring me. All the fucking nurses and shit. Yeah, they're walking by and say, hey, what's the hold up here? Oh, it's just, whatever. It's just going along. Don't worry about it. So, okay. So then I go in with the doctor, and he asks me, what do I do for a living? And I tell him, oh, shit, really? And he looks me up, and next thing I know, I'm out. I'm unconscious with that stuff. It's insane. And I wake up, and the nurses are there with masks. I go, "What's up?" They go, "Can you sign the masks?" So I signed 3 masks and a shield.
Great.
What? Are you kidding? And then I took pictures with them and stuff. Oh, now you like me, right? So I'm a little groggy still.
We were
Let's say
saying
you were under.
we were saying earlier
You know,
that
I thought I saw.
But you know what? They found some old Derringer tapes in there. From the me and Kenny.
I thought I saw your. I thought I saw your probe on.
It's set, Kenny.
Oh, it's so clean.
Yeah. Hopefully it still works.
That's funny. I went to a cardiologist today, and Mark Stein from the Fudge gave me this guy's number down here. So I went, had a little checkup, and he said, "Funny, I just got this in the mail today. I collect vinyls." He puts up on his phone, he just received a bid to buy a Vanilla Fudge album.
Yeah.
I said, "What a coincidence,
Were you selling it?
Somebody was selling it for him.
Hey, Carmine.
Yes.
Guess what I did today?
What'd you do?
Went to my cardiologist.
You did?
Did you did too?
Yeah. I had a nuclear stress test done today.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you had a nuclear stress test with dust when you played with dust.
That was a nuclear stress test.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now we're showing our age, right?
Yeah, we really are. It's embarrassing.
This isn't the conversation for like legendary rock and rollers. I think people are expecting here.
Yeah.
They'd rather hear about LSD trips than cardiology.
Phil and I can probably give you some good Billy Idol stories.
Oh yeah.
I mean, give me one good one.
The only difference is that everybody's still getting medication. The only difference is today it's with a prescription. That's all. Otherwise,
no, right.
Yeah, it used to be in the old days. We'd go, "Hey man, were you with that chick? Were you with that blonde chick last night? Did you do some Quaaludes?" And now it's like, "Hey, what cholesterol pill are you on? Are you on a blood pressure pill?"
Hey, Ron,
or you're talking about colors of pills these days.
You need to change the name of this show to like medical stories from lockdown.
Rock and roll medical stories.
Oh man.
On lockdown.
On lockdown. You guys, Kenny, you got to give me just one quickie about Billy.
About Billy Idol?
I know you got it.
Billy, you want to hear a good Billy Idol story?
Yeah.
So every night in the dressing room after the show, he'd have to have his leather pants taken off for him by the wardrobe girl. We're friends on Facebook, so I will not mention her name. Very sweet girl. And she'd have to kneel down in front of Billy and pull off his leather pants. And of course, there's no underwear involved. And of course, the sweat would stain him, with like the shit from the leather. It gets all over his skin. And he'd sit there and go, "Oh, Blue Balls is back."
I can see it.
That's a polite one.
yeah.
Oh, Billy,
I got one for you, but this is an extracurricular story. One of the things that we did, one of the first things we did when Billy moved to LA is he went and bought a Harley. So I've been riding bikes since I was 14 years old or whatever, and so we had Harleys, and there was not too many people riding around with Harleys. And one day we were leaving the club, and I don't know what was going on. We were talking and outside, and all of a sudden we hear this noise, and this Harley goes tearing off up the street. We're like, "Oh fuck, it's Billy!" And we're all, I don't know, I don't want to incriminate anybody, but we were probably drinking or whatever, and we were probably trying to figure out how we can get home as quietly and as peacefully as possible. So he tears off up Wilshire, and so we jump on our bikes and we tear off after him. And then we see he's made right up Fairfax, and he's torn up, and this light is just getting smaller and smaller. And so he's really gunning it. Finally, we see something in the middle of the street. It's a light, and it's getting bigger. So we're getting closer to it, and it's a junction of Fairfax and Melrose. And right in the middle of the junction is Billy with his bike, and he's in that point of no return, which is when you take a 750-pound motorcycle and you're about to lay it down on the ground, and you've just got enough strength to stop it touching the ground, but not enough strength to lift it up. And he was stuck there, but his hand was stuck on the throttle, so it was like, so we pull up, we jump off, we kill the engine, we help him pick up the bike, and we're like, "You okay?" He looks around, he says, "Yeah, do you think anyone noticed?" 2:00 in the morning, right?
So
You guys,
that wasn't when he broke his leg. That wasn't when he broke his leg.
No. That was when he caused considerably more damage to his ego than to any motorcycle. So,
Right. You guys, hey Kenny, Phil, thank you so much for joining us on our medicated Artists on Lockdown episode this week.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I got to say something. Carmine, I've known Carmine. We've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
Carmine and Vinny, I have so much respect for these two guys. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
They're the greatest drummers. And it's every day that I get to play with Vinny, it's just like, it's an adventure. It's an honor. And,
Thanks, Phil.
And
yeah,
then
we
when you- and
but
then
we do.
you
We
play-
have a
We have
great
a fun.
time. We have a
Yeah.
great time. We have a great time. We laugh around, and the music is just tremendous. So this is really, I'm so pleased to be able to do this. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of Kenny's, of course, for
Phil,
years.
let's stay in touch.
Absolutely, I would love to
Yeah.
do that.
And Phil did play a bunch of gigs with us with Drum Wars, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. as
Yeah.
well.
And
Well,
I
that's
got
why
to
you
play
guys
with
all like-
two amazing bass players. I mean, Kenny and I,
Yeah.
we killed it. Phil and I killing it now, and I'm really lucky.
And Kenny plays with me
Well-
now with my Rod Experience show, which is like a tribute to the Rod band, but we have people like that played with Rod in it. And except for Kenny.
Yeah.
We used to have Phil Chen, but Phil didn't want to do it, so I called Kenny. I said he'd be perfect for it. And we played your place, Ron.
I know that.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
where I'm the luckiest one on this show today, to be surrounded by icons and legends like Phil Soussan, Kenny Aaronson, Vinny Appice, and Carmine Appice. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. We wish you health, safety, good health. We hit the Arcada and on the road very, very soon. I want to thank Steve Love for putting this all together. Ben Wheeler, our producer. Everybody out there, please share, join us on Artists on Lockdown every week.
And
When I have my brothers, Carmine and pardon me?
next week, Bumblefoot.
Hey.
Ron Thal, Bumblefoot, guitarist from
Bumblefoot.
Guns N' Roses, so many other things. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe. Everybody out there, stay safe and
got it.
healthy, and we'll see you next
Hey guys,
time on
thank you
Artists
guys.
on Lockdown.
Take care.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ron.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.